Okay, let's go, guys. So, Crypto Sniper, vid for the Crypto Sniper, guys. We're going to take you into mobile one today. What's the point of doing a Crypto Sniper video without any charts? Okay, well, I'll explain. First of all, it's great to have some variation. You can't see me, but that is my thumbs up, asking you for a thumbs up and a like. It'll be a tad blustery here because it's windy today, but that'll improve when I dip down into the valley. So a massive thing occurred today. In fact, sorry, the data came in on Friday. This is being recorded now on Sunday. So that's 2 days ago. And I want to explain something about the Hunt Bitcoin COT indicator that is made available free to you. If you go to TradingView, the Crypto Sniper, hit a follow there. You can also search in the indicators. Now, if you just put COT, C-O-T, you'll get all the people that are just downloading the data. We aren't just downloading the data. We are applying a formula to the data that is generating signals. Nobody else is doing this, so you won't have it. So you need to put the word hunt in there, which is my surname, while we hunt some goats. Check those for ballas. Big ballas! Go on, you goats! Go on, you goats! Yep. Got those lads out the way. Where were we? We were talking about, put the word hunt in there and COT. And there's actually 3 parts to what is quite a complex adjustment to the data that we do. So this video is telling you how to use the 100%, 10 out of 10, accumulate, disaccumulate crypto indicator. I had some guy, oh, I unsubscribed, you're only talking about Bitcoin. No, I don't. We gave you Solana, we gave you ADA, we gave everything. But Bitcoin is the proxy for big money coming into crypto. We also look at total market cap, total 2 and 3, total 2 excluding Bitcoin, total 3 excluding Ethereum. Most of my holds and plays are old tokens, and we are exceedingly bullish. The key message is we are bullish, up. I don't do these mega moon shoot calls. Bitcoin to $1 million. You know, the freakazoid, tell them the max pump stories. This is as strong as I do for a Bitcoin moon call. And it's based around HVF method and the hunt manipulation of Bitcoin COT data. So you have to put the surname and COT in there and you will find it. And there's 3 indicators in there. You only need, there's 3 components. If you don't want to understand what we're doing, you can just take the signal. One of them is called the signal. One of them is called the insider. And the third one is called the amplifier. Let me say that again. The signal. Most people just want the signal. You don't want to think about stuff. You want to know, when do I accumulate and disaccumulate? People who want to understand what the signal is based on before having high confidence in it, they will want the insider. the insider. That shows the delta, which is the difference between the largest 4 sellers in Bitcoin, usually miners, and the largest 4 accumulators. So what is our signal based on? It's utilizing only some aspect of COT. If you go and put on Bitcoin COT, you will have all sorts of things, all sorts of lines, their take on who the institutional buyers are, the large speculators, all sorts of information. What have we done? We've taken everything out we're not using, decluttered it, and said, here's where the gold is. What are the biggest 4 sellers doing? What are the 4 biggest buyers doing? And what is the relationship between them? The sellers are nearly always higher because Bitcoin is still a proliferation model. It's like an IPO that instead of releasing all its shares in one go, release 75%, then 37% a year later, or 2 years later, or 4 years later, as the halvening is a 4-year cycle, but drip fed them throughout the process. So it's like a continuous IPO on an ever reducing volume, half the previous amount. That's essentially what it is. And so the miners are the proliferators because they are earning Bitcoin, and to cover costs they have to sell some. The institutional investors, the small retail and the large investors are the net accumulators. But more Bitcoin is coming in than is in existence, so the sellers are higher. Now, when the sellers and the buyers, the lower part on my thumb, and the sellers, the red line, if you put the insider indicator in there, so you have all 3, the amplifier, the insider, you have your Bitcoin chart, and you have the signal, which is putting the green arrows and the red arrows and the cautions signals on, and it only applies from March 2019, because the futures markets only settle down in terms of what we are trying to do from that date. So you'll see an orange line on your chart. From thence on, signals were generated because it was new market and people finding their feet early on. So what's actually happening is we're deducting the relationship of the buyers from the sellers. When there's loads of sellers and the sellers are super high and the buyers are super low, that is not a high confidence period. In fact, when the sellers cross our 70 level, you'll see if you put the insider indicator in there, underneath your Bitcoin chart, there is a sell signal generated. If it just touches 70, you get a caution. If it breaks it, it's a sell signal. And we've already had 3 sells and 1 caution, 4 bear calls, all 100% correct on a market that generally goes up. So for those that say it's a long only call thing, and obviously it's right because Bitcoin only goes up, 40% of the calls, 4 out of 10, will close your longs and even short, okay? They correlated with a relative high too at just under 14,000 and just prior to the pandemic collapse, much like our oil short call. So it caught that and saved you and got you back in and bought you back in after the collapse. So it's an incredibly powerful accumulate tool for people who don't want to trade and just want to be investors, and for traders to know whether they should be macro bull right now and mainly only taking longs and assuming bullish outcomes in most situations, versus whether they should be concerned. And funny enough, we were at fear 27 2 days ago, and we're at in the mid 50s yesterday. So the market is still not, the retail market has still not appreciated that. So the Bitcoin COT indicator gave you a buy backdated to Tuesday because the data is only up to Tuesday. It's released on Friday. So as soon as the signal and the data comes out, the signal is generated for when the data was originally collected for. So it doesn't look like hind inside wisdom. It puts it back because the data ended there. But they sit on that data, formulate it, release it at the end of the week. And in fact, if you're a European market, you would have only got it Saturday because you'd be in bed because it comes out late American time out. So that's why it happens that you see your tag in there. And by the way, TradingView has a bug. If it doesn't show as a signal on your weekly chart, go and do a custom 7 days. And it will show on a custom 7 days, which is of course a week, and it will show. But the minute you have the week time period, it doesn't show. So if you're on less than a week, it will show up as a buy signal. And that's something I can't do anything about. That's TradingView. Let's take this hill and talk more. So that was some technical explanation. This road condition is starting to get ropey again. Lots of rocks being dug up. Tell you what, disc brakes are a phenomenon on bikes. I remember thinking, are they for real when they first came out? I think it was a Porsche design bicycle that I first saw disc brakes on. And I was like, what the fuck? All this complexity for what? Must have been about 20 years ago. Took a while to become mainstream. Anyway, so back to crypto. Every time the signal has come in, I would say the one signal before on the head and shoulders breakdown jumped out the blocks kind of early because of the violence of the sell-off. You still had to sit through the falling wedge basing out period before you got your bump up to 52k. But it still gave you a long signal in the week that you traded 29. It actually was 28.8 on the spike low. And then you were back up and you tapped out at 52k. But there was a bit of a delay before it kicked for you, a fairly lengthy delay. Because it was such a violent sell, the signal was preemptively brought out. Man, it's windy today. It was preemptively brought out and led to a period of pause where you were sitting butt clenched, waiting for the moon, and you retested 29 one more time, actually twice, after the first head and shoulder target run. But we continued to assert that that was your halftime break. The highest number go up comes now. The second half of the crypto bull. So it's going to be a very, very good Christmas, and I can't reiterate this enough. My confidence level is about as high as it can be. bearing in mind we're still in a probability game and we can always be wrong, especially when you feel absolute certainty. I'm not in a feeling of absolute certainty. I'm in a rational state of watching this market for a sustained period, sleeping on my opinion. We were actually waiting a signal. We were waiting for this moment to come. We were discussing it in the community. The next thing that comes is a cot long based on our scenario. And in actual fact, the price behavior that Bitcoin is throwing down is a first impulse, bottom out at the 44, I think it was, just through it. Second impulse, top out 52, swinging down. And you've actually probably made your second low. And you got a cot call on the low one. Which is at the $28,800. And now you came down again and you traded the relative lows in and around 40K and you got a cot call again. And that's exactly what it did. It's exactly what it did on the first cup gold nugget, the macro overperformance Bitcoin bull. So I'm trying to give you some vocal, and you should be looking at a Bitcoin chart while you watch this, explanation that the biggest buyers were accumulating into that 40,000. And again, we discussed that in our premium group, how the 40 was serving as clear support, repeatedly, flat bottom support. We actually got a squeeze up HVF with a flat bottom. Everything under 40K was bought back up. And a bit of selling was allowed to come out across the tops, and that was impatient money. And the patient money was sitting at 40K. Anyway, so you've had two bull call tags at the relative low one and the relative low two of a new winding up quite big time frame, not as big as the first cup gold nugget, which is 2.5 years long, macro HVF setup, but quite a substantial one, for which I would expect the target of 83 to 87 to be run K. And given the time frame and the enthusiasm at the moment, possibility of going higher. I don't, however, think the run of 100,000 will be straightforward at all. I don't. I'm not calling for a simple 100,000 by Christmas. I'm not doing it. Bitcoin's market cap is already substantial, talking about $1 trillion. People that were trained on Bitcoin at 100 billion from many decades ago in terms of crypto life, but probably only 5 or 6 years ago, they just saw round numbers fall like dominoes. And every time you moon call the next major round number, after some volatility and pullbacks, you were usually right. There is some maturing going on as well in the crypto industry. But I do see it getting above 100,000 for sure. I'm just not saying in this next leg up that necessarily occurs. A bit of overperformance is possible. The rough projection from this new HVF is around the 83, 87, but we're guessing. It hasn't finished forming. but it'll be approximately right. You could go through a little bit of overrun. Maybe you get into the low 90s on a good one. Maybe you just make 85. You know what? From these levels, sub 50, that's a big ass move. So this is a macro investor. Be all in terms of your investment pot. I hold no fiat. I'm fully in blue pot. I hold no fiat. And actually, for those that say I'm all about Bitcoin only, Bitcoin is the god market of direction, which is why we study it. But I'm mainly Solana. Drop a few cogs there quickly, bit of a hill. Mainly Solana, bit of ADA, some audio that I've mentioned, that I've discussed in detail with my premium community. Solana, by the way, one of the reasons we got in, great setup, outperformer previously, had a good setup technically, overperformed in this Bitcoin rally, has just been included. You get the news after the fact in the Grayscale Trust for alts. Uni was also included, but Solana bumped higher. Future inclusions could come from Luna, AVAX, so those could be good places to sniff around. And they've also been technically good and strong. So while the others are still deciding if they're getting bullish, while people are still talking about the Fed cancelling crypto and the great risk there, now's the time to get in. I was in a chartered market technicians presentation. I was the opening speaker in the APAC, Asian chartered market technicians, a lot of Indian community, Australia, Hong Kong, China. I'll expect to be a big growth there as well. The question came through to me, what if central banks cancel it? And it's one I've thought of before, and I've heard before. Every bull market for something climbs a wall of worry. If there's absolutely no fears and there's nothing that can go wrong, you're at a top. It's called climbing the wall of worry, where the people who took the risk get the reward, and those that stood in fear watched. And you can be a watcher or an earner, because eventually the watchers can't bear watching anymore, and that's normally the top. When every last watcher realizes that this thing's got so goddamn big, so many institutions have invested so much capital, that it was probably created to control you in the first instance, and it is the control structure. They're hardly going to cut their own arm off that they're going to be beating and tracking you with. It is how they kill cash, which has been the intention all along, so they can tax you every time you pay somebody, and tax him, the recipient, every time you receive something. That is their extraction game. Blockchain kills cash. I'm all for cash staying alive. You should have some cash and spend cash. Carry cash. It's going to be a dying relic that you're going to remember fondly once it's gone. Cash is going to be a romantic, lovely old story. A dying relic of real freedom that you're going to miss once it's gone. Let me say that one more time. You're going to miss cash. Simple as that. Way! Someone's carved my road up. That's not very friendly. Should we try to do it anyway? This could be bouncy. Thank you very much, Mr. Farmer. Way! He's been pretty thorough with that tractor, hasn't he? What a suspension, I have to say, though. Should drop a few cogs because it's heavier going. Holy shamoogles. I was in only the vaguest sense of control there, waiting to take an on-camera dunk. I would have had to have uploaded it just like that. Truth is truth, isn't it? This is quite an unexpected development in our route, and I'm now half pregnant because getting back up is not on. Getting all the way down is going to be fun. Going to need some battery power and some lighter gears. Check that lizard running. Thankfully it's not rocks, it's mainly earth. So you're going to miss cash. Long and short of it. By the time they've sprung their full trap, the romance of crypto will be gone, and its full implications will be clear. But to get you and other early adopters in it, they had to pump it first. There we go, we survived. So yep, there's a serious shell game going on, guys. The jaws are closing around us. Cash was your final freedom. And as I've said many times before, get silver and gold. They can't cancel silver and gold, but they will phase cash out. I do expect them to make silver and gold illegal. And many of you will say, it's so underperforming compared to my crypto. That's part of the job of crypto, to keep you out of metals. Everything is serving its purpose. They knew if there wasn't crypto, gold would be at 5,000 already. Silver at $100 and something. Think of this crypto 2 trillion plus Bitcoin and altcoin cap, all in silver. How do you think that would work for the silver price? $2 trillion in gold and silver, 1.5 in gold, 500 billion in physically purchased silver taken out of the market. And in fact, we threw 2 trillion. And it wouldn't surprise me if we threw 3 by December. That would be 1 trillion in silver, $1 trillion in silver, 2 trillion in gold. I'm just splitting it how I want to. Maybe it would be 2.5 trillion in gold. Yep. So remember to keep taking out. Don't wait to call the top and stay 100% in. Keep taking out to have a bit of fiat to buy your property and to buy your silver bullion. Don't be over leveraged that you need every red penny in your pot. Great view. Valley into here. We'll go past this hotel, take in the beach, see if there's any great views to be seen there. Of all varieties. I'll sit on little pippy seats, nice and low, because it's quite steep. Look at the boats. That got me muddy. I'm guessing the camera needs a wipe. Wipe your face, boy. Some sort of an event coming. Yeah, windy day today. Let's go see who's getting married. I want to kiss the bride. That's all I know. The groom must step aside. I want to kiss the bride. So I'm going to head on to my little private gym there, Escape, and do a little bit of lifting. Yep, so crypto big bull, have some cash, get metals, silver and gold. Don't wait and tell yourself you're going to call the perfect top and then you'll get 100% out and you'll disappear and you'll reset and you'll have silver and gold. You won't do it. It's something you do along the way rather than this fantasy. Now amazingly, the COT indicator will tell us when to get out and to expect a significant correction, and a significant correction will certainly occur at some point. They always do, and they always will. On that note, I will pause here, and I'll talk more to you on the way back, where we'll take in a great hill, and we'll go down to the sea. Welcome to join me for that ride and final thoughts. So hit the like button, hit the share, and in the edit you'll be pivoting straight over to my post-workout ride back to a beach where I intend to swim. Speak to you in a sec.